This is a Nightline Friday night special.
It began at 3:40 this afternoon. Congress was in session. The Capitol building was full of summer tourists.
It was definitely gunshots.
I saw the security guard return fire.
And he just started shooting everybody.
And then I looked behind the pillar a little bit, and I saw someone shooting. I'm glad you're safe.
The assailant made it as far as the office of the Republican whip before he was stopped. In the end, one man was in custody. A young tourist was hospitalized. 2 police officers were dead.
This is a tough day for the United States Capitol Police. This is a tough day for the United States Congress, and it's not a good day for the United States.
Tonight, new details on the Capitol shooting. New information on the man accused of the attack.
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Substituting for Ted Koppel and reporting from Washington, Forrest Sawyer.
You are looking at a live picture of the U.S. Capitol, and there you see the flag at half-mast. Police are still very much present outside the building, but they are attempting to return to normal as quickly as they can. In fact, the Capitol building is going to be open as usual tomorrow. Now, just a few minutes ago, Sergeant Dan Nichols of the Capitol Police spoke to reporters.
This is a difficult time for the police department, and I think this is indeed a difficult time for the United States. This is a terrible incident that's transpired here at the nation's capital. But we don't want that to dissuade anyone from coming to the nation's capital and experiencing this great building and having access to their government.
Very difficult time for them as they have lost 2 men throughout the evening. We have been getting a clearer picture of what happened. First of all, we now know that one of the 2 police officers who confronted the assailant was shot in the head. The other officer who did manage to stop the gunman, that is John Gibson, was shot in the chest at point-blank range. A 24-year-old woman, a tourist in fact, Angela Dickerson, was caught in the line of fire. She remains in serious condition, and investigators have charged one man with the attack. This man, 41-year-old Russell Weston of Helena, Montana. In fact, this photo was released just a few minutes ago by the state of Montana. Now, as we'll see a few minutes from now, the Secret Service was well aware of Russell Weston before today and did consider him a possible security risk to the president. Of course, there remains a great deal more to learn. Exactly what happened and why. First, how the day unfolded with Nightline's John Donvan.
It was plain eerie to watch them lower the flag as dusk and silence returned to the Capitol Dome this evening. Eerier still to go back to approximately 3:40 p.m. and to see what was happening inside the building. A California congressman holding a press conference on health care. A Mississippi congressman heaping praise on a home state choral group.
The University of Mississippi concert singers won top honors last week at the World...
None of them aware that while they talked inside, this was going on outside.
And the gunman is down, and we have 1 officer. Is that correct?
We walked in, my wife opened the door.
And I
She was a few minutes ahead of us, and there was a guy in the doorway. There was an entranceway where the police officers were, and he just started shooting everybody.
It was shock. It was confusion.
And I mean, you just see your whole life, you know, flash in front of you. So I just started crying, and
It was uncertainty over just what had happened.
We didn't know what happened to you. You were right near the line of fire. And I tried to run back and get you, and the man said you could not go back in there. I was trying desperately to get to you. I'm so glad you're safe.
As you might imagine, police officers are not, if they know information, they're not saying.
Nightline producer Catherine Cross, by now broadcasting live from a cell phone, had been taping an interview across the street.
What I saw were people coming out of the Capitol. At first, I saw a man holding a child, and I thought the child was hurt.
He was running?
He was running as far away from the Capitol. And then when I looked back, there were more people coming out of the doors. I ran over to see what the problem was, and that's when I heard from all sorts of different sources. He was shooting, there's a gun, there's a gunman.
it was definitely gunshots.
saw a lot of officers running.
We understand there's one officer down, as far as I know. That's the only casualty.
The bathroom.
One officer.
And we stayed there until they come and let us out.
We thought it was an air conditioner that had blown or something, and then when the second shot went off, that's when we all started running.
We're missing my grandson's wife and baby right now. We can't find them.
She's probably hiding somewhere, Daddy.
One little boy saw all of it.
And then I looked behind the pillar a little bit, and I saw someone shooting.
Can I take you to somebody and you can tell them your story? Would it be okay with you? Because it would help us out a lot. And we can have somebody talk to him. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just not reporters and all that.
4:02 p.m. Casualties are now certain as a helicopter lifts a wounded person from the scene. 4:38 p.m. Nearly an hour after the shooting, the House discussion adjourns as though nothing unusual was going on outside.
I caught what seemed to be maybe a scuffle or someone kind of running through the entrance, which is on the east side, east front.
4:44 p.m. An interview with a solid eyewitness.
Immediately following the little, again, scuffle, one gunshot went off. Startled us, myself and two other co-workers.
A man who works in a kiosk inside the Capitol building. The shooting happened right before his eyes.
From that point on, of course, everybody dropped to the floor. Now we're in a display area where we have a souvenir stand, and I could see through my display cases. And at that point, I could see the actual shooting going on between the policemen. But by this time, the perpetrator had gone into an area that is near Tom Delaney's office.
4:50 p.m. The first official word, a sergeant in the Capitol Police Force.
It appears we had a gunman enter the building and exchange gunfire with U.S. Capitol Police officers who were on duty at that time. 2 U.S. Capitol Police officers were hit by the gunfire. They've been transported to MedStar. The suspect was subsequently shot also. He's been transported to the hospital. In addition to the 2 officers and the suspect, we had 1 civilian who was injured by the gunfire.
By now, this basic scenario was emerging. Though the Capitol is one of the nation's most heavily guarded buildings, surrounded by roadblocks and its own security forces, by design it is open to public foot traffic. Apparently, the gunman mingled with tourists and approached the Capitol from the east side. He entered by what is called the document door, an entrance that members of Congress share with members of the public. He exchanged gunfire with security officers. He ran for the offices of Congressman Tom DeLay, where there was more gunfire.
When you hear gunshots going off like that, you don't know what to do. And I ran towards the gunshots, but I saw my staff coming towards me. And there's 2 women in my outside office, and I grabbed them and another staffer, and we ran into my bathroom off of my office and locked the door and tried. I have a cell phone on my hip, and we tried to call the Capitol Police, but unfortunately in the bathroom I got no signal.
6:15 p.m. A spokesman for George Washington Hospital has an update on the wounded civilian, Angela Dickerson, aged 24.
She is in serious condition. She has 2 wounds from gunshot, 1 facial and 1 shoulder.
6:30 p.m. The worst news of the day.
At this time, it's my sad duty to announce that both United States Capitol Police officers have been declared dead at the hospitals. Both United States Capitol Police officers were killed in the line of duty. The officers identified as Officer Jacob Chestnut, who's an 18-year veteran of the United States Capitol Police. He was assigned to the Capitol Division. The other officer is Special Agent John Gibson, who's an 8-year veteran of the U.S. Capitol Police assigned to the Dignitary Protection Division.
And testimonials to the men who died.
They responded as they were trained to respond, without hesitation and courageously. And but for their actions, we may have lost many more visitors to the Capitol, workers in the Capitol, and representatives of the people of this country.
We owe them a lot, and it's very humbling when somebody loses their life in protecting yours.
Meanwhile, details began to emerge about the man police say is their suspect, Russell Weston, a 41-year-old from Montana. Weston survived his wounds. This evening, once they lowered the flag, they immediately raised it again, halfway, and left it there. A sign of mourning for the men who died under the dome. and a sense of loss that one more place in America now feels unsafe. I'm John Donvan for Nightline in Washington.
Certainly the greatest mystery in all this is Russell Weston, that man accused of the attack. Who is he? Why did he allegedly walk into the Capitol building with a .38 caliber handgun and begin firing? Nightline's Michelle McQueen is here with us with that story, and you've been learning some things.
Yes, Forrest, but not a whole lot. Law enforcement officials said earlier today that Weston had been investigated for making threats against the president beginning in the spring of 1996. ABC's Brian Ross has been told by a federal law enforcement source that Weston was a frequent writer of indirect threats against the president that were nevertheless serious enough to warrant an interview by the Secret Service. The source said Weston considered himself an oppressed white man and believed that the government was corrupt and favored minorities. As John Donvan told us, Weston is 41 years old. He was raised in Valmeyer, Illinois, near St. Louis, where family friends tell us he was known as Rusty. But in recent years, he was also spending time in a cabin in Helena, Montana, where he had some trouble with the law. He was arrested in 1991 on a charge of selling a dangerous drug, but the charges were later dropped. It is a cliche, but he does seem to have been a loner. Few of his Montana neighbors seem to know him in the kind of town where people tend to know each other. But one neighbor told the Associated Press that Mr. Weston believed that the government was using his satellite dish to spy on him. And the Miami Herald reported that a man who identified himself as Weston's father told him that his son believed the government had planted mines on his Montana property. The father also told the Herald that he had ordered his son out of the house last Thursday after he shot a number of cats with a shotgun. The father also told the Herald that his own handgun, a Smith & Wesson .38, was missing. Law enforcement officials told ABC News that a .38 was used in today's shooting. Law enforcement officials are also believed to be interviewing family members right now. The neighborhood where the family lives has been cordoned off. We were also able to speak with a number of high school acquaintances of Mr. Weston's. Among them was Gary Baum, who told us that Mr. Weston was an average teenager in their small high school, except that he sent an angry, expletive-filled letter declining the invitation to attend a high school reunion a few years ago. Tonight, Mr. Weston is recovering at a Washington hospital from gunshot wounds to his legs and abdomen that he received during the gun battle. He underwent 4 hours of surgery and is in stable condition. He's expected to be charged tomorrow and could be facing the death penalty in connection with the deaths of the 2 federal officers. Forrest?
Well, small pieces of information that at least suggest an angry and disturbed young man. Thanks very much, Michelle. Now, just a moment from now, 3 perspectives on today's tragedy from a member of Congress, from a former Secret Service agent, and from ABC's Cokie Roberts.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Searle.
If I could fall asleep right now, I'd get 6 good hours. If I could still get 4 hours, 4 hours is okay. I've done without sleep before. I can do it again.
If you can't sleep, if things you've tried leave you groggy the next day, your doctor has a breakthrough approach to sleep therapy you should know about. Sleep Solutions from Searle.
The other day, Karen had to hurry to a surprise birthday party.
Honey, the doctor's on her way. Almost there.
So Karen didn't need any surprises from her car.
Just breathe. We need you to breathe easy.
Ford Taurus has millions of real-life miles behind it and a reliable door-tech engine in it.
The doctor's here. The doctor's here.
I hear someone's in a hurry.
And I know 2 people. Make that 3 people. And we're sure glad that she bought this car. Ford Taurus. It's built to last.
Sunday on This Week with Sam Donaldson and Cokie Roberts. Will the president testify? The latest with former White House Chief of Staff Leon Panetta. ABC Sunday.
Rule. To be preeminent in or have control over. Common usage. To be numero uno. Welcome to the 98 Honda Clearance. Don't you just love it when you win?
Find the latest, hottest, largest,
largest selection of kids' shoes.
Every brand's on sale this week, like the Reebok Rainman and the Fila Rainmaker for only $39.99. Choose the Fila Clutch or the Flying Fortress, either one for only $29.99. And all LA Gear shoes for kids are on sale for only $19.99.
$19.99? Wow!
Back to school means back to Just for Feet for us.
Just for Feet, where the 13th pair is free.
And so's the popcorn.
Well, joining us here in Washington, California, Representative Bill Thomas. He is chairman of the House Oversight Committee in charge of Capitol Security. Former Secret Service agent Chuck Vance and ABC's Cokie Roberts, who quite literally grew up here in the Capitol as the daughter of former Majority Leader Hale Boggs. Congressman, I was just talking with Cokie before we came on the air, and she points out that so many people don't really understand what a family atmosphere this is. There's only about a little more than 1,000 uniformed officers, and they often serve for so many years, so people get to know each other.
Well, not only you get to know each other, but those 1,000 are fanned out over about 15 million square feet. So if you travel particular patterns, you see the same officers repeatedly. You get to know each other when you bump into each other and have time to visit 6, 8, 10 times a day.
So the horror, Cokie, is more than just knowing that the Capitol building has been assaulted. It's very personal.
But that is a horror. I mean,
of course it is, but I'm saying it strikes right to your heart.
It is right to your heart. You walk in, you see Officer Chestnut, you say, good morning, how are you? You get to know who his children are. He gets to know who your children are. He says to you, how's that boy doing, Ms. Roberts? You know, and you get into that conversation all the time. We are very, very close there. You'd be amazed, Forrest. I have gone to funerals of members of older people who died naturally, who are former waiters or policemen at the Capitol, and I'll show up there, and Tip O'Neill and Bob Dole will be there. You know, this is a very close family.
The question that is going to be on so many people's lips tomorrow, Congressman, is quite simply, was the security adequate? Was everything done that could be done?
Obviously, we're going to review, as we do after every incident, what our security was and whether or not everyone who was involved professionally responded correctly. I can tell you that first-hand observation on my part and a quick follow-up over the next several hours, we believe that everything was done correctly. These two officers responded professionally. The rest of the Corps responded professionally. Medics, the rest, all of them did their job. This fellow blasted his way through one particular area of the Capitol and didn't get very far at all, as your graphic indicated, when another officer, professionally in the line of duty, did what he was trained to do.
Well, the investigation continues. Evidence is being collected. I assume that at most entranceways there are video cameras to track who comes in. Is that right, Congressman?
Well, we have sophisticated surveillance equipment, of course.
And I would assume at this door there was that.
Well, and there were, as your earlier tape indicated, plenty of eyewitnesses, and they had photographic equipment, and I believe we have photographs as well.
So you have sufficient photographic evidence of the event itself?
I cannot make a judgment of sufficient. That will be done by professionals.
But Congressman Thomas makes a point for us, which is that almost every tourist coming in the Capitol these days has a high-8 camera. We in the press have complained about it. They can take pictures where we can't, and there's probably a lot of tape of this incident.
Cokie, you've been there for so many years. You know that there have been talk in the past about security. There will be talk now about security. This is not a new issue.
No, and it has come up over and over. I actually remember the Puerto Rican shooting in 1954. I was 10 years old. I was at school in the suburbs here, and it reached our school midday, the news of it, and it was terrifying because several of our fathers were there, and it was just frightening. But at that point, there was a big talk about security. There's been talk about it ever since, and the security is, of course, much greater than it ever has been. But always balanced against the idea of greater security is the notion that this is the people's building, and that's such an important notion because the terrorists win if the public can't go to the Capitol.
Well, Russell Western,
yes, sir. Just one point, because Cokie points out something. It's especially hard for those of us who have to be in the middle of that professional tension because these professional officers want to make sure we're absolutely secure. And there's an ongoing tension between how secure they want to make us and how much we want to make sure that the people don't feel they don't have access.
When we come back, we want to turn to this issue of Russell Weston and who he was. He was apparently on a Secret Service watch list. Chuck Vance, a former Secret Service agent, is with us. We'll talk to him about that when we come back in just a moment.
Want to do some marathon shopping?
So many things, so little time. Sears 72-hour sale. With store-wide savings including all Craftsman, from tools to tractors. This Thursday, Friday, and Saturday only.
Don't sit this one out.
Dad, aren't you forgetting something?
Oh, right. 10-10-3-2-1.
You were the one who told me we save over AT&T on every call if we dial 10-10-3-2-1, then 1, and then the number.
I love when you listen to me.
We even save 50% on calls over 20 minutes.
That's right. You know, last month we were on the phone with your grandmother for a half an hour, and it cost less than $2.
So I guess, Dad, the only thing you have to do is remember to dial 10-10-3-2-1 first. So remember...
10-10-3-2-1. I got it.
Discover the fiber therapy that tastes so good, people prefer it over Metamucil 2-to-1. Discover Citracel, the only fiber powder that won't produce excess gas. Citracel, no excess gas and better taste, too.
Right now, service prices have been cut at participating Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers. During Quality Care's Summer Savings Days, it's your chance to save. For Ford, Mercury, or Lincoln cars, Motorcraft shocks are now just $69 per pair installed. On Ford light-duty trucks, just $99 per pair. And on any Ford, Mercury, or Lincoln, Motorcraft struts are just $199 per pair installed. The right parts, the right people.
At your service, Quality Care. I hope I see you there.
Coming up. As usual with Republicans, I would actually be on your side if you hadn't superloaded the issue with a bunch of crap. Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher, coming up.
We are committed to projects like this because we care about kids. A lot of us have families. I've got 3 kids of my own, and it's nice to see people give of their time to give kids something to do to keep them out of trouble. Because adults take the time to go out here, and corporations take the time, and News 2 takes the time to spend its resources to try to better kids. The better of it is that children have a choice, and hopefully they'll make the right choice.
Join us for the Vinny, August 3rd and 4th. Performance Ford selection can't be beat.
We have access to about 4 million cars nationwide because we can tap into the Ford database.
Choose a new Windstar from our great selection and drive it away with up to $4,000 in savings. Ford Windstar is the safest minivan on the road, with room for 7 and luggage. Windstar is the best choice for this summer's vacations. At Performance Ford, we can always get the car, truck, or van you want. So make the switch today.
I feel that Performance Ford is definitely the home of a good deal.
The subject is the shooting at the Capitol building. Russell Weston is the man who is the accused assailant. former Secret Service agent Chuck Vance. Apparently, Russell Weston was on a Secret Service watch list. What does that mean?
Well, as you might imagine, Forrest, the President of the United States gets hundreds of threats that the Secret Service learns of over a period of time. They range from everything from frivolous talk in a bar to serious threats by potential terrorist groups. The Secret Service takes all of them seriously, and they go out and interview each incident. And in this particular case, from what I've heard, Mr. Weston had made some verbal threats against the president, had written some letters, and I'm sure the Secret Service interviewed him. Now, once they interview him, and then they, in many cases, when there's mental instability, they'll get a psychiatrist involved, and then they determine if that person is of protective interest. In most cases, they are not. They're usually eliminated. In Mr. Weston's case, I suspect that he was not on the highest level of threat, but he was somebody that they were aware of, knew of, and had talked to.
Chuck, I was surprised to learn that the FBI apparently was not aware that he was on the watch list. Is that standard operating procedure?
Well, it just depends if there was some reason to pass it on the FBI. If it's strictly within the Secret Service protectees, there would be no reason to pass it on.
Is there anything that the Secret Service could have done in your wildest imagination that might have alerted the Capitol Police to what was going to happen?
Well, no, because I think it was very obvious they didn't know he was in the area. If they had known he was in the area, I think they would have alerted people. They would have been concerned for their own protectees.
Congressman Thomas, we have a pretty good idea how the two police officers were injured during this, but we're still questioning how Angela Dickerson, the 24-year-old tourist, might have been wounded. You know that?
Yes, once Weston blasted his way past Officer Chestnut, the other officers responded immediately, and of course there were tourists around that interest. The only direction that he could move was back into that corridor, as you indicated. She was literally pushed along as he went through that door. And eyewitnesses indicated to me that that was the point at which there was the fatal and final shootout.
After he fired at Officer Chestnut, he apparently, or at least another officer, engaged in fire at him. Do you know who that officer is?
I do not at this time, but I believe he dropped Weston at that point, and Weston got up again.
Koki, there's going to be a lot of questions tomorrow. One of the questions that I think a lot of people are going to have is it going to be safe to go to the Capitol building? Is there anything more that can be done, that will be done? How is that going to be addressed?
Well, with any luck, it will be addressed rationally and not with a tremendous response about, well, we should be making this place a fortress. After the bombings in Lebanon in the 1980s, there was a commission established to look at security at the Capitol. And there was everything from surface-to-air missiles on the top of the office buildings to a fence around the Capitol proposed. And the fence became a viable option, and the Congress finally understood they couldn't keep the people out of the Capitol.
Congressman, I'm so short of time, but I believe that for all of us, we should say a word or two about these two remarkable officers.
Absolutely, because as Koki said, it's a family. Well, there were officers and they had a family as well. Each of them had 3 children. We knew them, we talked about them, yes. And all of us are proud of the professionalism they exhibited at the moment. They had to be professionals to protect us, which was their job. Our hearts go out to their families.
Congressman Chuck Vance, Koki Roberts, thanks so much tonight. A very difficult day. We'll be back in just a moment.
1 can of paint, $26.
Al, check approval, register 5.
1 can of paint, $26.
Al, check approval on 5.
1 lousy can of paint, $26.
Al.
Knowing you'll never have to wait for Al, priceless. Debit MasterCard withdraws right from your checking account without the hassle of checks. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's Debit MasterCard.
Al.
Well, the good news, David, is that we got the bed and it comes out of the life board, but for some reason, we need to replace it.
We'll just take some roof off.
So, we're not talking to these guys. We're not talking. We'll tell them we have to.
Only one network has something for everyone. From NYPD Blue to TGIF. From Politically Incorrect to NFL Monday Night Football and everything in between. We've got more shows for more people because here at ABC, we love TV.
They've had to do a little remodeling at Pizza Hut headquarters since their co-founder came out of retirement to become a Papa John's franchisee. See, he thinks Papa John's makes better pizza than even the company he helped found. Today, Frank owns over 60 restaurants.
Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
He's got it.
Papa John's.
Hey, looks good here.
Now, get a large 2-topping Papa John's pizza for just $7.99. Carry out only.
License, please.
Was I speeding?
Negative, but I see you're driving the all-new Seville STS with the North Star system. Most powerful front-wheel drive car in the world with performance algorithm shifting. That gives you incredible control.
Uh-huh.
So I have just one question. Do you feel lucky, Mr. Johnson?
Yes. Yes, I do.
You should.
See your Cadillac dealer today.
Just to review what we know about today's shooting, 2 U.S. Capitol policemen are dead. A young woman, a tourist, was wounded and is in serious condition. The gunman, alleged gunman, who was also wounded, has been arrested. and is expected to be formally charged tomorrow with the murder of the 2 officers, and that is a charge that could carry the death penalty. Now, tomorrow, President Clinton is going to be making a statement about the shootings at the Capitol. Of course, ABC News will be carrying his remarks live. But that is our report for tonight. I'm Forrest Sawyer in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
Nightline has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.
This is Barry Sanders Field, where he learned to run. Where we learned his moves. He spins, he jukes.
He's like crazy. Barry used to play flag football. He said if someone can't grab your flag,
there's no way they'll ever be able to tackle you. This is Barry Sanders Field.
Football is football no matter where you play.
Audiences and critics agree Lethal Weapon 4 is the best yet. Lethal Weapon 4.
This summer's gonna be lethal.
Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Smile, got French's. Smile, got French's. Smile, got fun. Smile, got fun.
Nothing spreads more smiles than French's Classic Yellow, Hearty Deli, Mild Dijon, and new Honey Mustard.
Smile, you got French's.
Find the latest, hottest, largest selection of kids' shoes.
Every brand's on sale this week.